everyone. We got Kat and Franny here. And Lil Man fussing over there. He, he's just mad at me because I wouldn't let him pretend to be deaf. I don't know what it got into the corner of the yard, but yeah, I'm on to you. It's like, I need somewhere to go to the bathroom. Just kidding. I'm just going around in circles and wandering around for a couple minutes, just looking for something to fight. So it's like, oh, I can't hear you, Mama. I don't know that you told me to get my butt in here instead of looking to talk junk. Like it's not 86 degrees out in the shade. So, yeah. Mama had to go and get you, didn't I? Mm-hmm. I was like, oh crap. So, yep. We just got in from the heat and he got busted and Franny spot thiefed me because she's smart. It's hot. I'm going out to go to the bathroom or if I gotta be sick, which he's been doing on the carpet. It's like, oh, I couldn't do it in the hardwood or outside. I'm running into the living room just to throw up in the middle of the carpet. So, yes, you're lucky I love you because you've been a butthead to death. But that said, we're going to do our June wrap up if I can reach my books because somebody made me move, but look at that face. You can't tell that face to move when she's in her sweet girl mode. She's actually not being a punchy, give me something butt mood. Like, I've had my breakfast. You turn the AC back on. So me and Lil Man will be under the covers soon because big girl gets toasty. Like, ready for a nice nappy nap. So we're gonna wrap up. And, oh, can I reach these? We're gonna start with the physical books. And then we'll get on to all the ebooks. Starting with, because I can reach it, Tale of the Body Thief by Anne Rice. This one wasn't off the TBR. It's a reread that has went from buddy read to group read. And, so this one is, well, if you've read Anne Rice, like, these are fairly slow. They are very character driven. And this is exactly what it sounds like. We got some criminal prick that wants Lestat's rich vampire body, and Lestat, being Lestat, is stupid and goes along with it and really thinks that it's going to, like, not blow up in his face. We as readers with a bit of sense and a lot less, narcissism go, yeah, he's totally gonna pull this. He's already told you that, his whole joy in life is being evil and stealing everything from everybody. Even if he doesn't need it, he's gonna steal it just to prove that he's better than you, and because he can. And so he does. He steals, like, Lestat's body after he goes, yeah, sure, you can have it for a night. Oh, just kidding. This body is actually dying, and I'm not going back in it. And, goes on, of course, a thieving and killing spree as bad people do when they know they can get away with it. And, it goes from there. This is one of the faster ones, and it still took me 3 weeks to read on Kindle. But it's so far my favorite. So I can't wait to actually, like, discuss this with Alan and Leslie and Stuart and Elaine in August when we do our next, bi-monthly group discussion. Because I think half of them have not read it yet. They kind of joined the buddy read early on, and Elaine and I even were kind of getting it read and getting together to discuss it. Was life. So it is what it is. We'll move over where I don't have to lean so far now. Oh, you won't come here, Mom? No, man. Yes, I still love you, even if you're being a boy. He's giving the cutest little face. I can't quite get the camera to give you a proper angle of what I'm seeing, but it is so cute. So, we read that. This sucker got DNF'd. Like, it sat on my shelf for a year and a half, and it should have stayed at the bookstore. Nemesis by Bill Napier. 400 years ago, they foretold our destruction. One day I'll learn to speak. We didn't believe them. We should have. Code buried in centuries old manuscript is the only salvation for the survival of the United States. This sounds really freaking good. I didn't make it 40 pages before I was so ticked off. I had already stopped once. And then I couldn't anymore. Because we start off with, oh, we detected something. Oops, we've all been vaporized. We're dead. So you think, it'd get like, well, a week ago or whatever. No, we don't get that. We just, everybody's dead. And then in the next chapter, they're not. Because the meteor hit and most of humanity went the way of the dinosaurs. And then we're like, oh, we're alive and we're kidnapping these people that you better let us kidnap you so that you can save us, or, we'll destroy you and tell the world how evil you are, that you didn't want to save us from this meteor, which, we're going to start a war if you don't, save us from it, because we know exactly when and where and how much power it's going to hit with to, like, wipe out the entire Western Hemisphere, and it's an act of war. This country deflected it at us. But we don't know which one is going to hit us or when or with how, or like how strong. So we find which one so that we can blow it up. Otherwise, we're going to nuke these people for wiping us out. We're going to die by meteor, but we're going to nuke them into the ground beforehand for taking us out with an asteroid. You're already dead. You know where it's going to hit and how big it is and when. So the only way you can know that is by knowing what's coming for you. And you don't know that because you need to, kidnap this French dude to come save America from the asteroid that has been deflected at us as an act of war. But we know who did it and when, and really get some sense. And there's just so much like over the top hyperbole of, it was a couple 100,000 degrees and vaporized everyone in 50 miles. If they could see it, they died instantly in the heat. But also, well, it went 10 miles deep. We were 2 miles underground, and it didn't instantly get us. It took like 15 minutes for the heat to get to us. Even though we're 2 miles under the ground, and it went 10 miles deep. So it's a lot of, I'm trying to prove I know astrophysicists and I'm a freaking genius, and here's all the like really technical stuff to prove that I know all of this stuff. But also it feels like hyperbole and the timelines and common sense don't match up. And yeah, this might be my worst book of the read. I at least made it most of the way, through that one book that was just the good guys and the bad guys are all 1940s German bad guys. This one is, I didn't get to the part where there's a manuscript or anything. Just, we're kidnapping people off the street to come save us from the asteroid act of war. That we don't know where it is or what it is, but we know what it is and where it is. Because stupid. So, rant over. And then we got through quite a few this month because they were mostly easy. Like J.D. Robb's Promises and Death. And this is just like all the other ones in the series. It's a futuristic murder mystery. Eve and Rourke end up working on it together, of course, and she is very embarrassed and angry about having to be girly and having him be mushy. And some of it really made me laugh because there's a bachelorette party and she has to like partake in bachelorette party things because it's being hosted at her house, but she forgot and she really doesn't want to partake in it, whereas he's taking the guys to Vegas, but it's a bachelor party for them and it's guys only, so she begs to go, at which point he was, all right, show me your junk. Like, can I borrow yours? Don't leave me alone with girls. So yeah, we got some of that going on. But in this one, a fellow cop has been offed, so, of course they take it personal, and there's lies and backstabbing, and it always has to somewhat come back onto, wait, if these people are evil, am I evil? Because I came like from evil. Like I don't even know who I am. My sperm donor used to abuse me till I killed him, and then they found me and put me in the system. So I became a cop to stop people from being evil. So yeah, genetics is a very big deal to her. So yep, we got a good old murder mystery with a lot of likable. Well, you like them for the murder. Like which one of like I know it's not you because I really want it to be you. So that would be too easy. But these other ones, these are all pretty good options. So those are fun. And then this one was a surprise. It's The Forest Queen by Betsy Cornwell. And I got this out of the teen section. It's a Robin Hood retelling, but mostly chicks. So like you think it would just be very like badass, very light, easygoing. No, this thing was dark. Like our Robin Hood stand-in is well, she ran away because her brother was going to marry her off to this guy that was like her dad's age, so that he would keep her local for brother to make moves on. Because she's like, oh yeah, he used to beat the crap out of me, but that's just because that's what boys do to girls that they have crushes on, and or that he never touched me. I just always felt him like creepishly staring at me. Sometimes when I was asleep. So we have that, and so she runs away with this other dude, and slowly gets a like band of misfits that are all trying to get away from her evil, you know, lord turned sheriff incestuous brother. And instead of Little John, we have Little Jane, who just like our friar, Tuck, Little John dude, is very large. In this case, large in multiple ways because they save her from because she is pregnant and unmarried, which, scandalous. How dare she? And, she is not going back to the father because it is not implicitly said, but we know who it is, and it was not consensual. And her father kicked her out because, you're big and ugly. Like, we don't allow sluts in this house, and you have to be because there's no way a guy would, like, touch that against, your will. So, they're just all trash. And so they're all hiding in the woods, living off of whatever they can find to stay away from her pervy, evil, murderous brother. And yeah, we got a lot of that going on and hinted at. But it is very nice if, like, pretty much the whole community goes, yeah, we hate this dude. You've survived this long. We found you. We're staying with you and, like, living up in the trees and having a whole new community far away from this prick. And the ending is, it wasn't quite what I wanted, but it was so satisfying. So, it's good. They are very young. It is a teen one, but it is freaking dark. And then had a nice action packed, very destroyed old book. This is one of my mammoth reads of the year that, is as old as it would look by how abused this thing is, even though this is my first time ever reading it. Let's see, just when did this come out? Oh, not as old as I thought. Originally in 97 and by Sandecker. That I love that. That's one of the characters in this book. And then this version of it is only 15 years old, so it was heavily abused before I got it. Because it came out in 2010, and I probably got it about 2015, 2016 ish. Like 2017 at the latest. And I did not do this damage to it. I got it at the thrift store for a dime. But this one, it's another part of the Dirk Pit, aka Numa files. Like, calls it Dirk Pit, and we have Numa, but they're 100% crossover, so I don't know why it's two series, but whatever. But basically, we have this, you know, evil Chinese dude that wants China to take over the world with him leading it. So they're like going, hey, for X amount of money, we'll ship you here. We'll take you on this nice ride and, you can immigrate to this place. Actually, you're either gonna be an indentured servant, we're gonna put you in a corner, or we're gonna off you. Or if you have enough money, we're gonna hold you hostage for more money and then do these things to you. So, every country will actually be overrun by Chinese folks, and we're gonna get money off of them. And how dare other people be satisfied with billions of dollars? You have no ambition. I want to rule the world and have all the artifacts and all the money, and I'll off anyone who gets in my way. And of course, we are not going to let that happen. He made the mistake of trying to off a federal agent because she refused to be put on a street corner. And yeah, did this while our, young-ish Pitt was trying to have a, nice lake vacation after almost getting offed on the last, adventure he was on, whatever that is, because heaven knows I'm not reading these in order. Like, it's like a community lake, except for this prick has gated it all off and tries to, kidnap or murder everyone who dares to touch the lake. So, used to be a fishing town. No, now no one's allowed to fish because they might find all the bodies on the floor because there's probably not any fish there. They might have all, succumbed to the water being contaminated by thousands of bodies. So, yeah. Evil dude. This was a mammoth, 678 freaking pages. But it actually moved fairly quickly. It's just really long. And like, you know how these go. The bad guy always loses. And their death is amazing. And this was no exception. Like, sometimes, he gets out of hand and you could have taken out like 300 pages. You got a little too detailed and political and blah, blah, blah. Getting into stuff that you're taking me out of the story. But this one, it stayed in it. And the way that bad guy got offed at the end was, it made my dark heart so happy. Fingers crossed for another version of that. Come on, Ocean Gate. And then there was Wicked Prey, which isn't that so pretty? That like shade of blue, nice and shiny. It changes a little bit. I think I used to have nail polish that color, a little like blue chroming. Blue is my color. And I would not say no to finding that again. But Wicked Prey by John Sanford. And this was like a heist gone wrong, full of backstabbing, murder mystery type thing. Of we have some evil folks that are, I could work for a living, but I'd rather rob and kill folks versus an FBI guy. And it's somewhat personal because one of the folks is like, like we have that going, and then we have this other prick of, I did some illegal stuff, and he caught me, and it wasn't like he didn't shoot me, but somebody did, and they wouldn't have if he'd have just let me commit the crime and run off. So I'm gonna get revenge by assaulting and offing his like daughter that he's trying to adopt. And of course, she's a teenager that has had a very bad life, hence her being adopted as a teenager. It was, they're trying to, tell me to use some freaking common sense and look after me because, lots of murderers abounding right now. And I'm trying to go up against one on my own, but screw them, they're stupid. So, she's being like, heart's in the right place, but she's very much a teenager in this. Going, I'm gonna take out this guy because otherwise he's gonna like possibly take out my dad, or my dad's gonna off him, and that would be bad because he works for the FBI. You're not supposed to off people as a personal vendetta, but that's totally what's gonna happen, so I gotta do it. And going about it in a really messed up way. Was very okay with some, casualties along the way. But it's basically of, there's a political convention in town. We're gonna make some money and have some bodies. And so this is gruesome, and it's a lot longer than it looks. We're coming up on like 450-ish pages on this sucker. But if you want a really good criminal story with some dark undertones, it's the first time I've ever read anything by this dude. Never heard of him before, but that was a good time. Like, you gotta be in the right headspace because it is kind of messed up and dark, but it was good. And then I doubled down. And both of these are weird. Like, normally their names have to do with that way you know which, like, number you're on. Like, that's Tempting 28 and Rise and Shine 29. But now they have two names. It's also Game On and Going Rogue. And they're part of the Stephanie Plum series. And yes, they have junk on them because they have those freaking Bryce stickers that are... I cannot get all that gooiness off, or even the entire freaking sticker. But once again, if Stephanie is a bounty hunter that is not doing too well, she's still like barely managing to pay her rent and going to mommy's house to get, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and laundry, and where they have Friday night dates with the boyfriend who she's been dating since like book 2. Because she was still trying to kill him in book 1 because they've had a history since she was a kid. Because grew up in a small town. He was checking her in her underwear in elementary school, and wham bam, thank you ma'am, don't expect a call afterwards in high school. So she ran him over with her dad's car. Because how dare you, be my first and then not call ever again. So she ran him over. And now she can't decide whether she wants him or her bounty hunter mentor. That part's getting a little bit old. And she's got her sidekick partner very quick to abandon her, but also then come back. Because, hey, we're partners and somebody's got to look out for your idiot self, Lula. They're very, like, incompetent, but, stubborn and lucky. And, yep. We have Magic Diesel, who's from a little side story in this one, and Hackers, and a little gruesome. In this one, it takes Lula a bit to catch on, which is one of those things that kind of annoying of, hey, we have our token black character. She's going to be nice. She's also going to be, very self-centered, also very idiotic, and then very nice and perky again, and it's like, your coworker's missing, very obviously kidnapped, and you're just upset that she's not there with the donuts for like 40 pages. Like, she's supposed to bring donuts. How's my life going to go on if I don't get my Boston cream in the morning that she's supposed to bring? She's been kidnapped and this dude keeps calling. But if you're like a gamer or a comic book nerd, this one, if you can ignore that, is kind of cool because we've got, we end up with these like Comic-Con convention, comic book store owner kind of dudes. Lots of action. It's good. It's fast-paced. But at 29 bucks, pick a dude already, honey, and get some skills. They're cheap. They're fun. There is no growth. They are very formulaic. So, randomly reading one here and there is good. Reading them all back to back will make you probably want to scream. Because, y'all should learn by now. So, they're good, but take them with a grain of salt. And trust me, the first one, you can go ahead and skip that one. Like, the salient points of that will be rehashed at the beginning of all of them anyway, in a comedic way. That one is dark as crap. The rest of them are not really dark. They kind of tinge on it a little bit and then, throw some humor in there to deal with it. That one is truly dark. So they're quick, they're fast, they're funny, but things will get annoying when you realize that there is no growth if you read them all at the same time. And I think she's on like 35 now. So do with that what you will. Like I got these from Ollie's for like $2 and $4. You can't beat that for a brand new book. So yep. And oh my gosh, this is a long video. That was just those ones. So we're gonna go really quickly through the ebooks because oh my gosh, there was let's see here, going or no, rescuing the prince by Meghan McVey, where we don't need no stinking prince because he got kidnapped by a dragon and taken to another world. Because it starts off with like a Disney knockoff having like a little princess parade, and our fake Cinderella and Prince Charming get, kidnapped by an actual dragon and taken. Like, the prince gets taken, she goes and tries to take out the dragon with the freaking fire hose, and ends up getting taken too and taken to this world where magic is duh, but dragons, you might be crazy, and has to fake being like the missing princess because she kind of apparently looks like her, and they need a princess to stop a, backstabbing war of you don't have a man, so you can't be queen. I'm gonna take over your land. Oh, you have an heir. It's not a boy, but we'll give you a little bit of leeway so long as you have an heir who has gone missing again. So there's magic, there's romance, there's betrayal all over the freaking place. It's a fun little fairy tale. Like, I liked most of these characters, except for the sister and, well, if I tell you a couple of the other ones would give away some things, but it is a good one. Red Harvest by Dashiell Hammett. I ended up DNFing this one. Like, it started off like a good, old school noir of, we're in a mining town and these thugs and robber baron type, like, took it over during Prohibition. And now, people are dropping dead. And I'm here to go solve it. We take out some of the folks, we find who the murderer is, and then we're only halfway done. The book is over and there's still like 150 pages left. And I don't even really like the good guy in this. Like, I was waiting for some, having some fun with the whole poison town name and supposedly vampires. But it's just robber barons, and it's like, even if you get taken out and these new guys come in, I don't really like them either, and I need to like some of the characters to enjoy the book. I, yeah, I just wanted the whole town to just be wiped off the planet. Chosen Queen by Sam Davey. This is one I got off of Goodreads. I, got that in exchange for a review, and it's basically it's King Arthur's, origin story of, hey, here's my mom and what her life was to bring me into the world. And like, we're supposed to like King Arthur and Merlin and the Lady of the Lake. And then you read this book and you're like, I hate all of you. Merlin has almost a redeeming quality, but y'all are freaking evil. Because it basically was like, yeah, his mom was like married off to someone. Like, we picked your husband when you were a baby. Don't worry, you'll like this guy eventually, maybe. And if you don't, it doesn't matter. You're a girl. Pop out some babies and do the ceremonies as you're supposed to honor our deities, or else. And she's decided to like her hubby, except for that he's decided to go with the risen king guy instead of our proper deities. He's fallen for the Christian stuff, and that's not allowed. And so to save him, there's got to be some backstabbing going on. Like, we saw the prophecies at your birth that you're going to have like the king that's going to bring us peace. So we're going to marry you to this guy, even though we know that that's not the guy for you. But you're going to marry him, and then you're going to hook up with that one. We could have you hook up with him from the get-go, but we orchestrated all this crap, and there's a lot of political intrigue and backstabbing, and I like King Arthur's mom. I like his aunt. We pretty much end the book with, "Here's the baby. Peace. I'm out. I had it. We found somebody to nurse the baby. Get me out of here. I don't want to see the baby's dad or any of the pricks involved with them." So, like, it was not the story that I was expecting. And as much as I hated some of the characters, I love some of the other ones. So, it was a good time. And there was Death and Relaxation by Devon Monk, which, as it might sound like, is an urban fantasy of, we have like these three sisters that are, the police of this town where gods come to take vacations. All right, you have to agree to give up your powers and be, mortal so that you can vacation here, because weird. But while you're mortal, you can die and then your powers have to go to somebody else. So there's, murders going on, and one of them is a god. So now we have to find a new god to, because they all get the same names. Like, this god just essentially, like, the god is the power. So whoever inherits that power is, essentially, you're no longer who you were. You were now this person. So there's a lot of, there's kind of some romance and some, is he good? Is he bad? Is he? It is kind of blurry to the very end. But the relationship with the sisters was my favorite part. Like, their sass and attitude and how they worked with each other, so freaking good. And just a general premise, I think we got a murder mystery, and we got some attitude. And is he gonna be good, or are we gonna, like, if your boyfriend will get his act together, bring it on. Who's gonna challenge the sheriff? And then we had Red Rose Rising by A.J. Manney. And this is another one of those, like, we had a princess locked up in a tower because apparently they had, soundproofed panic rooms and castles back in, like, the 1500s. So everybody gets murdered except for her because, she's in the panic room, and nobody is 100% sure that she exists because she is literally not allowed to interact with anyone that isn't family or, like, a castle servant or guard. She is not allowed outside. And now one of the guys that helps, like, murder everybody is, shuffling her off to this other kingdom before, turns out, his dad can off her. Because, he's evil, as they always are. And there's some romance and some prophecies and lots of magic, because she's more badass than she thinks. But, you've been locked in the tower until you can't go outside because you're sick and stupid for, almost 17 years till your family gets wiped out. And so they have to go and, like, wage this whole kingdom-wide war. And it's pretty badass and awesome. I did enjoy that one. And then there was Secrets of Giza by Ken Warner, which sounds really awesome. It's actually about, like, a couple of teenagers. And if you can think of a conspiracy, it has been thrown at the wall. And somehow it does kind of manage to, like, work together in a cool way, but also it just feels nonsensy because we have Pyramids of Giza, which is tied to aliens and the Bermuda Triangle. And I kept waiting for Bigfoot. I was very disappointed that Bigfoot wasn't in there, but we did get Atlantis. So, yeah, it didn't. It started with, hey, we found the secret room in the Pyramid of Giza that was, like, shielded from all of our modern day tech. And there was some stuff in there, and hey, these kids have magic powers that just popped up when they hit puberty. And so we spent a couple hundred pages running away from evil government, trying to take them so they can turn them into government-owned weapons. Must be tortured. So, yeah. It was a mess, but it was a fun mess. Will I read more of it? Probably not. But did I enjoy the one read? Yes. So, if you want teenage, all the conspiracy theories in one, go for it. Hello, man. Yeah. Is that a good one? What's your favorite? Which one should they read? Or should I DNF a few of these? What do you think? You just want to tell the people bye? Okay. Say bye. Happy reading.